Marine salvage crews risk it all for rare treasure.
We had 5 tons of pure destruction smacking into everything.
Divers battle the deep sea.
Some people will say that we are crazy.
Crews navigate their way through devastation.
There are boats everywhere.
When the weather turns, nothing in their path is safe.
It's a major disaster.
That's when salvage teams spring into action.
3 o'clock in the morning, the phone rings and you mobilise.
Working in treacherous waterways. Not far from Atlantic City's casinos, there's a different kind of gambler rolling the dice.
My name is Philip Briscoe, and I own North Star Marine, a towing and salvage company. Salvage is a gamble. I like playing the odds.
Today, Phil is gambling that a shipwreck 30 kilometers east of Atlantic City is hiding a valuable load.
Well, we're heading out to a wreck site that was a freighter during World War II called the San Jose. We had some friends that have been diving on the wreck, and they found tropical hardwoods from Guatemala.
The hardwood is sought after by woodworkers who will pay over $10,000 per log. This particular load has been at the bottom of the ocean for 80 years, and Phil wants to get his hands on it.
We anticipate about 5 or 6 of these logs, so we hope to get all those today.
Betting big on salvage jobs like this is how Phil built his successful company.
I originally got into the boat business when I was in high school. I really had no desire to go to college.
For over 30 years, Phil has grown a thriving business alongside raising his 4 daughters.
That's maybe where a little bit of the gray hair came from, not all of it. But they keep me on my toes. They're used to my crazy projects.
There are plenty of opportunities for crazy ideas in New Jersey, as there are approximately 3,000 shipwrecks in these waters.
Well, I always said the crazier the opportunity, the better I like it. If you're willing to take the risk, then you just do it.
Today, Phil's mission is at the mercy of the Atlantic Ocean. If the weather changes and a storm hits, he'll have to abort the task at hand.
My name's Sam Jarvis. I'm the port engineer for North Star Marine.
Sam is Phil's top deckhand.
My father, Mike, is the salvage master for North Star Marine. He kind of raised me in the industry. I love working for North Star because of Phil Briscoe.
Keeping a steady hand on the tiller is Phil's trusted captain, Gary Raphael.
We met in church, and he put me in the salvage business, and we do it all. I couldn't see going to the same job every day, and you definitely don't do that here. Never a dull moment.
This salvage operation is a huge gamble for Phil, as he's funding the entire thing himself. In total, the task will cost him $9,000 for the ship and crew.
You go out to salvage something, you will only get paid if you're successful. So
It's a challenge because it's all or nothing. If you don't get it, you get nothing.
Phil has recruited an experienced team of salvage divers, led by Harold Moyers, who will take a share of the profits, if there are any.
Phil's a great guy to work with. When Phil calls and asks what you're doing, whatever you're doing, you say, nothing, I'm waiting for you to call, because he's always a good time.
the plan is basically that the divers arrive ahead of us. They will pre-rig some of these logs.
If Phil is successful, this could be a $50,000 payday, but there's no guarantees. The logs are snarled amongst the shipwreck's debris over 30 meters below the surface.
What I'm worried about is the weather. The weather here is real iffy. This wreck lies in a hole, so it's silty. If there's a big swell or a lot of wave movement, it could affect how the bottom looks. If it's very, very stirred up, it's going to be challenging.
Diving in the Atlantic in November is dangerous, but these divers are up for the challenge.
If these logs have a monetary value, Phil will find the right buyer.
But there will be no payday for Phil and Harold if the notoriously fickle Atlantic Ocean turns nasty.
The boat's doing a little rolling back and forth.
A storm could sink their chance of success. It's 11 a.m. when Phil arrives safely at the wreck site, leaving only a few hours of daylight to recover 6 logs. He can't afford any delays.
All right. We're going to back down onto the wreck site, which is about 500 feet that way. All right, let's keep feeding some more out. They're about 150 foot or so. So we'll have 2 anchors to hold us in position.
Phil and the North Star team will hold position over the wreck, while the divers attach the logs to the lift bags.
Once the strap is around the log, we inflate air into a bag which would displace the weight of the log and bring it to the surface.
Phil and the North Star team fight the swell and ease the boat into position.
A little more, Gary. Maybe another 25, 30 feet.
Bringing a log on board should be the easy part.
You guys tied to the wreck, or are you on an anchor?
A lot of the perils that we face are really the ones below the surface that make it difficult for the divers.
The visibility at this site is notoriously bad. We call these braille dives. You're only using your hands to feel what you're doing. As soon as you begin working a strap underneath the log, the limited visibility that you already have goes to basically zero.
They have a pretty big challenge, and they're a real critical part to the process. It's easy to say, just go down and tie and go down and rig and go down and do, but things underwater aren't twice as hard as they are on surface. They're probably 10 times as hard.
What's the average age on that boat, 85, 90?
We've got 250 years of experience here.
Is any of it any good?
Hauling a giant log onto a rolling deck will require all of Phil's salvage expertise.
Like I'm pulling a fish.
If Phil makes one mistake, the entire salvage could slip through his hands. They finally raised their first log to the surface, but the hard work isn't over.
Pull as high as we can, right?
They still have to land this beast of a log.
I guess the log weighs a good 5 tons.
How long's the strap? That might be a problem, huh? I don't know if we have enough oomph to lift it that high, though, do we?
Phil needs to switch out the long strap.
I realize we have a serious problem with the strap. I'm not going to be able to raise the log high enough to get it on deck.
Let that go.
Careful, careful.
Phil scrambles to come up with a solution, leaving Sam holding the slippery lift bag and the 5-ton log.
There's always something that goes wrong. Holding the log in the water is difficult, and rolling in the ocean doesn't make it much more easier.
Here's what I did, Sam. You tie this in hitches and we'll pull from this, right?
The crew use the rope to hold the log while Sam switches a longer line for a shorter one.
That's heavy, man.
So we're about to lose $10,000 to the bottom of the ocean.
I'm doing my best not to let Phil down.
Phil has yet to fully recover a single log, and now there's a delay. He needs the divers to go back down and replace the lines.
We're gonna have to give you guys a smaller strap, all right? I think he's got it. No, he doesn't.
Come on, Harold, get that strap on.
He's on.
Phil and his team are close to landing their hard-fought 5-ton log. But there's still a lot of work to do.
While all this is happening, I can feel the swell picking up.
Bring her down.
Go ahead, Ryan.
If you're trying to hoist something up, it creates a swinging action and it's hard to control, and it can be dangerous.
Hold on.
The 5-ton log is out of control. Over 3,000 kilometers away in Central America, off the shore of Panama City, there are hundreds of vessels awaiting repair. The salvage crews that work here must constantly keep an eye on the ever-changing weather, especially thunderstorms. For diver Armando Jimenez, it makes for thrilling work.
From when I was a kid, I really like everything that has relation with the ocean. I always go diving and go fishing with my father and godfather. And with the years, I realized that you can work in the environment that you like, and at the same time, as a job, you can earn some money.
A skilled master diver, Armando is assigned the most complex and dangerous jobs in the business. Watching Armando's back is dive supervisor Javier Ford.
This company, we do several different type of jobs. We do cleaning, we do inspection, rescue, repair.
Armando loves his job, but it's extremely demanding and risky.
Sometimes you work more than 12 hours with a very tough environment and very tough situations.
Because of the global health crisis, this 4,000-passenger cruise ship has been empty for months. And the $450 million vessel needs its propellers cleaned. Armando must finish the work before the weather takes a turn for the worse.
Look at that, there is a storm coming.
The boat carrying Armando and his team speed across Panama Bay to the job site, racing the menacing thunderstorm.
The weather in Panama is unpredictable. We can be having a good weather, and then all of a sudden things changes.
Panama's weather is notoriously volatile. With little warning, clear skies can give way to storms.
We have at the morning a beautiful day, but everything changes as you can see.
Sometimes the weather might be your friend, sometimes your weather might be your enemy. Many occasions when the weather becomes your enemy, we had to stop diving completely because that's something that you cannot control.
Right there was the lightning.
One of the most dangerous for us is thunder. When we have thunder close by, we need to stop diving operation right away.
A lightning strike during their dive could be potentially deadly for Armando and his team.
This climate in Panama is crazy. It's totally crazy. I hope we don't have problems underwater.
Diving is a risky job. In a scale from 1 to 10, I would put it like 8.
The team catch a break. As the dive boat approaches the cruise ship, the sky's clear.
Now approaching to his vessel.
Salvage, good morning. We're standing by on channel 72.
Roger, I say you're standing by on channel 7. We have a better weather condition. Good for the divers to work.
Okay, for today we are going to polish 2 propellers. This kind of vessel have 2 propellers of 6 blades.
Because the cruise ship has been out of service for months, its twin 20-foot propellers are caked with calcium and barnacles.
We do the propeller polish at 2 steps. First, clean the calcium with a diamond pad. That takes a little more time. The second step, we're gonna polish. In this case, it's very complicated because we don't have too much space to move, and so we have to be careful.
Due to the ship's size, bringing it into dock is not an option. So the divers have to conduct the operation where the ship is anchored, 50 kilometers off the coast of Panama City, in hundreds of feet of water. As he suits up, Armando is keeping a close eye on the conditions.
We have a little swell. That's gonna be the only thing that we have to see how it's gonna be, because that's represent a problem.
Looks can be deceiving in this part of the Pacific Ocean. A calm surface can hide dangers below.
We have 2 types of current conditions: underwater current and surface current. Also the swell. One of the most dangerous one is the swell. For example, you can be working at 12 meters and the swell can take you up in a moment suddenly, and that can hurt your ear. And for a diver, one of the most important parts of the body, the ears. You must really take care of it. It's better to work without swell, visibility, current. If you don't have good conditions of those 3, it's better to go up.
Armando inspects his equipment one last time.
We have a umbilical that give us communication, give us the necessary air.
The umbilical cord is the diver's life support system, but its thick coils are also a serious hazard.
The danger that the diver may have, they get their umbilical entangled, causing the divers to lose communication on surface, even run out of air.
It's a danger, it's a real danger. You must be always having the communication. must do the job and work fast.
With all the dangers commercial diving brings, every time Armando takes to the water, he knows he's risking his life.
Good morning, everybody, from Pensacola, Florida here, where we are taking the eye wall on the chin right now.
In September of 2020, Hurricane Sally ripped through the Florida Panhandle with winds of over 160 kilometers per hour.
Huge waves splashing over the marina here.
The 2-meter storm surge slammed into Florida's Emerald Coast.
Gulf Shores, orange beach, high water in a lot of these areas.
Hurricane Sally's impact on Pensacola was devastating.
I think it's caught a lot of people off guard. This thing has done some damage.
A month after the storm, there are still 500 boats in need of salvaging. Each recovery costs between $3,000 and $7,000. The lure of a big payday has drawn salvors from 1,100 kilometers away, like Captain Chris Ward from the Florida Keys.
For me, I love the challenge. This is a family legacy. I grew up in this business. My father did it for many years, and now I'm in it. It takes a unique person to be a salver. Long, hard days, away from family, not everybody can do that.
Hurricane Sally hit here in Pensacola, Orange Beach. The hurricane was not expected to come here as it was expected to go towards Mississippi. The aftermath of the hurricane, we have boats sitting in yards, boats sunk, boats upside down, yachts, pontoons, small skiffs.
Everywhere you look, there is a sunk or destroyed boat. It's a major disaster.
In Pensacola, Florida, there's fierce competition between salvage companies to recover the hurricane-damaged boats. To stay ahead of his rivals, Captain Chris Ward has split up his team and is tackling today's salvage alone.
The job today, we're heading out to a 22-foot pontoon. It's sitting in about 100 yards of marsh.
Here in the tip of Florida, there are a lot of snakes, and from what we hear, there's also a lot of alligators.
For a potential $3,000 payday, Chris is willing to risk the deadly wildlife.
We're hoping with the colder weather this morning that it really calms the snakes down and we can get this job done.
Now watch your step. Watch my own step.
The boat is stranded in a thicket of pine trees deep in the marsh.
Watch me bust my...
Each salvage presents a problem. You have to solve that problem.
And Hurricane Sally has created a huge problem for Chris.
Hurricane Sally was a devastating hurricane. It had basically just stopped in its tracks. It was moving very, very slow. And what it did is created a huge storm surge, upwards of almost 10 feet in some areas. That's what tore down trees, broke the docks, raised these boats up. That's where all the damage came from. These floating docks came with the storm surge from these marinas that are about a mile away, and we have to get that boat zigzagged around all these docks.
To move the pontoon boat to the shoreline, Chris must attach lines to specialized pulleys called snatch blocks. Then a towboat can zigzag the pontoon boat through an obstacle course of trees.
You really have to use your mind being a salver. You know, not everything is physical. If you come up on a job and you try to just use your body, it'll never work out. You have to use your mind. Just the simplest little movements or whatever can get a job done.
Chris has just 3 hours to finish this salvage and move on to other jobs, or he risks losing the work to other crews.
So you can see where it came through the tree line right here, all the broken trees. You can see where the pontoon barreled the trees over, what's left here on the bow.
Chris has a major problem. The boat is stuck backwards with no room to maneuver.
We can't spin it where it sits. So we need to take this boat exactly the same way it came in through these trees. Then we can spin it around.
We have to be very careful. We don't want to damage the vessel more than it's already damaged itself.
Chris's payday depends on the condition of the boat. If he damages it further, he can kiss his big paycheck goodbye.
One of our biggest worries is going to be we have to make sure that we can get that pontoon boat between those trees and that dock without damaging it. There's only one way to find out if this is gonna work. We have our tow line that we have to get through this marsh, around these docks. That's prime marsh for water moccasins. This is snake country here. When you're walking through all this marsh, if I start seeing a rubber hose or something move, I'm gonna think it's a snake. If they're alligators, don't tell me about it.
Chris is hoping the hurricane hasn't stirred up the snakes. His next step is to lasso the boat.
Basically, we're just wrapping the rope all the way around it to create a cradle.
A snug cradle is crucial to help spin the boat around.
So right now, the engine's down. We're gonna have to get the engine up. If we try to drag this backwards just a little bit, the engine's gonna get stuck. This root sitting here is not gonna make it any easier. Hey, I need to put a little bit of heat on her to get this engine up, so y'all go ahead and back out. All right, go ahead, pull it a little light. There you go.
Chris must avoid any further damage to the boat, or it will seriously cost him.
Bring it up to about 1,200. A little bit more. There we go. Perfect. All right, hold what you got, hold what you got, hold what you got. So now we got the motor up. We pull it straight through right now. We're gonna run into all these trees. With the snatch block, I can move the pontoon where I want it to go. All right, let's go with it. All right, here it comes. We have a little tree here right in our way. We have to move our snatch block just to scoot it over just a little bit. We're just ping-ponging this boat right through these trees so we can get it out to open marsh. All right, let's put a little pressure on it.
Oh, man.
Without a tow line, Chris is as stuck as the boat.
This is ridiculous.
15 kilometers off the coast of New Jersey, a 5-ton rare hardwood log that Phil Risco has pulled from the ocean is dangerously out of control, threatening Phil's crew, his ship, and his $50,000 salvage.
This ain't gonna work.
The force of the log twists to the cable and the winch jams.
He's off the winch.
We had about 5 tons of pure destruction dangling from the air, smacking into everything.
If this falls, this is gonna cost us big time.
Ryan needs to just drop this thing. Why can't he?
It's caught the winch.
Oh.
This log is being difficult, but it's coming on here today.
The 5-ton weight is jamming the winch in place. If Phil and his crew can't fix it, they'll have to cut the log loose, losing a $10,000 salvage.
The weather really affected the problem with the winch being so rough sometimes. We always keep the weather in mind. It's a serious issue.
Does this do anything, Gary, if you put the crowbar down here?
Yeah, we tried all different kind of places.
Desperate to get the salvage back on track, Phil pitches in.
It's close, right?
Maybe.
It's not close. Phil breaks the news to the dive boat.
We're gonna figure this out.
Down 18 here. Back. Dive boat back.
Radio, go on the radio.
Yeah, we're just got a winch issue here. The cable got twisted up.
You think you're just gonna go out one day, pull some logs up off the bottom. That's not how it works. It's always something that takes a lot longer than you expect.
Yeah, the problem is we're just digging it deeper.
Phil is still struggling to land his first $10,000 log of the day.
Yeah. All right, let him try to cut it again.
They resort to their last option, having Sam cut the log free and leaving the 5-ton deadweight on the rolling deck.
Big swell coming.
I've been in a lot of situations where it requires you to think pretty fast on your feet. When the log was swinging around, potentially damaging equipment and potentially harming someone on the crew, my biggest worry was just making sure that the log wasn't swinging anymore. So I grabbed the knife and cut the strap.
Yeah, Sam.
Go down and let winch get ready to pull it in.
The heavy log sways dangerously in the air.
Every salver knows it's a dangerous job, but we all accept the risks.
Oh!
All right, we got it. Finally got it on board.
The crew used the ship's second winch to pull their prize to safety. Now Phil finally gets his hands on the hardwood.
1, 2, 3.
It's the moment of truth. Has Phil's treacherous day been worth it? Or has he spent a lot of time and money on 5 tons of rotten wood?
We have no idea what shape the log's in. If it's rotten, then this job's a total bust.
It's pretty solid. I mean, you can see there's no wormholes, really no marine growth on it at all.
It was a huge relief when I finally saw the quality of the wood.
It's in near original condition for being underwater 80 years. There's no rot whatsoever. As solid as can be.
Woodworkers will pay up to $10,000 a log for this prized hardwood. Phil aims to get 5 more today, if the weather holds.
As far as the weather goes, the wind is still favorable, but the swell is pretty significant at this point. So that's rolling the boat around.
On a vessel with it moving in the weather, there's always a limit that we'll work at.
Time is running out. Phil needs to make a change to his plans.
We're going to rig it differently this time, and for the next couple logs, I would hope it goes a little smoother than that. Ready? 1, 2. Hold on. The boat rolls. Hold on. There we go.
But Phil's new plan relies on fixing the crane winch. If they can't fix the winch, then the treasure hunt is dead in the water. Over 3,000 kilometers away in Central America, off the coast of Panama City, Armando Jimenez and his team of divers are attempting a complicated maintenance operation on the propellers of an out-of-service cruise ship. The currents have been steadily increasing all day, and dive supervisor Javier Ford is getting concerned.
Once a diver is in the water, we need to be communicated with the diver all the time. Armando, how is it going down there?
We have a little current. Now we are in the process of polishing with diamond pack first. Then we will give the finish.
How long do you think it's gonna take for him to polish the propeller?
Maybe we can be talking about 2 or 3 hours.
2 to 3 hours is a long time to spend underwater in Panama. The conditions can change dramatically in that time.
They don't know how it's down there, so you are the eyes of them. So you are the one who say, hey, we have too much current. Hey, the visibility is not good. Oh, I need to stop. I cannot continue. Because the machines that we use, it's dangerous to work with. If you don't see, the hose can get trapped, and it can be a totally mess down there. Sometimes we find slimes, we find barnacles, really big barnacles, like this. If you're lucky, you will find small ones and dead, so it's easy to clean. Sometimes you find big ones and alive, and the alive ones are really difficult to take off, and they sometimes take a lot of time. There are so many dangers in this profession. You can make mistakes, and that can cost your life.
As the job drags on, Armando is alarmed by what he's seeing.
Right now, we have a strong current. As you can see, the bubbles, my partner is breathing. The bubbles go to the far side of the vessel. It means that the current is crossed to the far side, which is a little bit more difficult to maintain the position.
The confined space the divers must work in magnifies the current strength.
The space between each blade makes difficult the polishing in this part, as you can see, because the curve is very close to each other, so the space is reduced. But he's doing really good. He almost finished this blade too. This is the second blade that he almost finished.
To stay on schedule, Armando and his diving buddy fight the current, but they risk becoming tired, dizzy, and disorientated. Or worse, one of them could get wrapped up in their umbilical cord.
If the umbilical gets entangled, it might lose the air because the umbilical provides air to the diver.
A tangled umbilical cord is a diver's nightmare. Fearing the worst, Javier decides to check on Armando's condition. Armando complaining about his head hurting is a huge red flag. The pain could be because of the force of the current, but it could also mean he's dehydrated, or worse, it could be a symptom of decompression sickness. A major risk for every diver. Dive supervisor Javier Ford knows he has to step in and make sure Armando is 100% safe.
Okay. Sé que la manguera y el umbilical de Armando.
The crew waste no time in pulling Armando out.
The current is really strong, really strong. You cannot even hold.
Armando must recover before risking another dive.
Sí, esto aquí. Es que la corriente te jala y te mantiene, tienes que estar luchando.
When the diver tells you, okay, the underwater current is too strong, I cannot do the job, okay, we stop immediately, take diver back to surface and stop operation until we get a better weather condition.
They may be desperate to get this multi-million-dollar cruise ship back in service, but not if it means risking Armando's life.
We have a lot of swell and current. It can destroy the equipment, it can make you commit a mistake, and it's not possible to work. You feel a little pain here in ears, so let's take a break and we will continue later.
If Armando and his team can't finish the propeller cleanup, the ship could suffer significant damage, costing the company tens of thousands of dollars to repair. So, after a short break, the divers perform safety checks on the conditions.
We have better current. I think we can do the polished. I think so.
The current is subsiding, and the divers want to give it another go. They're determined to finish the job. But unknown to the divers, conditions underwater have actually worsened.
How is it going down there?
There is a change on the southern current. Now the problem is the visibility. Maybe just 1 meter in front of you, you can see.
That's kind of weird.
So it's really dark. Like we were working at night, like nighttime.
You're underwater, you just have one light in your head and you cannot see anything around. That makes me feel like afraid because it's, you know, the unknown things that, you know, you don't know exactly what is going to be behind you, down. You always have fear. Fear to die, fear to maybe not complete the job, but you must lose those thoughts from your head because the fear makes you make mistakes, honestly.
In the beginning, we thought that maybe it was going to be more easier than it wasn't.
Despite the poor visibility, the divers race to finish the job.
Woo! Finally, we have finished. But after all, we have done a good job. The vessel is gonna say thanks to us.
In Pensacola, Florida, towboat captain Chris Ward needs to complete the salvage of a 22-foot pontoon boat driven inland by Hurricane Sally.
There was so much tension on the rope that it snapped.
Time is money, and there are more boats waiting to be salvaged. And Chris has barely budged the pontoon boat.
So we have moved this boat a little bit. The problem what we're running into is all the weeds and bushes and brush are piling up in the back. The back end is starting to dig itself under. It's gonna continue to do that until we get this nose around. So we're gonna have to cut some of these trees. I realize I'm gonna have to get a chainsaw from the back of the truck. Crap. We have to go back through this marsh.
Oh, come on.
It's not a simple trek.
This, I honestly don't know if we're gonna be able to get this today.
Chris gets to work on the trees, preventing his salvage and payday.
So right now we're just gonna cut a couple trees. That way we can spin this pontoon around and make it easier coming out of here. To be able to respond to a salvage, one of the most important things you must have is manpower. If you don't have manpower, you won't be able to do it.
Chris is feeling the pressure of flying solo.
I am not a lumberjack, I'll tell you that right now.
After clearing the trees, Chris tackles his next problem.
We have a hole here on the starboard side pontoon, right here in the back. It's a pretty good sized one. There are holes in each of the pontoons. We have to put a quick enough patch in there just so we can get to the boat ramp without it sinking. Right now, we're just gonna try to fill this hole as best we can, keep the water out.
With the hole successfully patched, Chris is almost done and ready to move on to his next job.
All right, bring it up to about 15. Keep going at that same speed. There you go. All right, let off. We're good. Let me look at it. We're looking good. We've moved the front of the boat a little bit. We just need to move it a little bit more. It's all done in small increments. That way we can safely get it around and not cause any damage to the vessel. Keep it going. That's good, that's good. All right, keep it going. There you go. Keep it going.
The pontoon boat is slithering along.
We got the boat through the marsh. It's on the water's edge.
Chris won't know how well the boat is floating until he gets to the ramp. But if it sinks, there goes his salvage and his payday.
All right, now we gotta get back through. Job's not over yet. Gotta go get our boat that we just pulled out of the marsh. I wanna make sure I get the trailer to the ramp. That way we're sitting there waiting for these guys.
If the boat hasn't already sunk, that is.
We're here at the ramp. You guys go ahead and head on this way.
The patched hull could give way at any moment.
Here the guys come. Let's see how the boat's floating.
Chris pulls the boat up onto the trailer, securing it just in time.
We're good. We pull this dude up nice and slow. So we got her up and out of the water. What we need to do is make sure she drains everything out, and we'll take her to the storage lot. Good job, Dean. I appreciate it. There's 3 things that can happen to a boat once the job is completed. 1, it's gonna go back to the owner and get repaired. 2, it'll go to salvage yard to be sold at auction. Or 3, it's gonna go to another yard to be demolished.
The boat's fate is a repair job and reunion with its owner. Today's successful salvage is just one of the hundreds of hurricane-damaged boats that need recovering.
Hurricane Sally is devastating, but this is what salvers live for. This is why we do what we do.
Off the New Jersey coast, Phil Risco and his crew have pulled a rare hardwood log from a shipwreck. And from what Phil sees, his gamble is paying off.
It's pretty solid. I mean, it's in near original condition for being underwater 80 years.
This was a great piece of wood we recovered. This is worthwhile.
Phil plans to sell each rare hardwood log to woodmakers for $10,000 apiece.
The logs are in perfect condition. And pretty much every part of these logs can be used and can be milled. There really isn't much waste to them.
Any kind of old-growth log is worth salvaging because it's an older grain. Wood that's harvested today is harvested too quickly, and the grain is not as tight as it is on an old-growth piece of wood.
But Phil still has 5 more logs to salvage. The divers have brought up a second log to the surface.
What happened?
I need the wrench.
Wrench? The tool for the wrench. For this.
The cable is tangled and the winch has seized up. The crew desperately search for a solution. No winch, no more logs.
At North Star, we don't give up on a salvage.
The winch that pulls the cable through the A-frame got jammed up, so we had to unspool the whole winch. When those problems do happen, everyone kind of has to take a role and make sure they do their job.
All right.
Sam and the crew have lost precious time untangling the cable.
We're really under the gun now.
There she goes.
Finally, the winch is back up and running.
Are we clear? Go ahead.
Phil and his crew scramble to get back to work.
All right, here we go. We don't want any gear, right?
If you already have a lot of things going wrong and they keep piling on, sometimes it's hard to keep your mind clear, but that really only comes with experience.
To help them fight against the strong currents, Phil and the crew add the powerful deck winch.
All right, buddy. Go ahead. Yeah, I'll get it. Hold that.
Phil and Sam add some muscle to the ship's winch power.
The top concern is safety. You're on the water and you're trying to secure something. Large wave comes along and somebody's hand could be in the wrong spot.
The worsening swells have trapped the log under the pitching boat, threatening to smash the ship's propeller and hull.
Back down, back down, back down, back down, back down, 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 down. Okay.
If the 5-ton log breaks the strap, that's $10,000 to the bottom of the ocean.
Okay, I gotta swing the log around.
Phil and Sam put both winches to work. A second log is up.
There you go.
But Phil has run out of time. He's losing daylight and it's far too dangerous to haul logs aboard in the dark.
Let's get some more wood and just block it up.
Salvage is certainly a gamble. Can we do it within the time allotted? Can we be successful? If you don't take the risk, there's no reward.
Have a good ride in.
For 80 years, this rare Guatemalan hardwood was lost at sea on a World War II shipwreck. Sunken treasure waiting to be salvaged. The 2 logs captured today are worth $20,000. There's no doubt Phil will return for the rest.
We are interested in finding some of the bigger, unique things that maybe people don't commonly recover. And it's not always an economic benefit to do so, but it's fun.
These logs also have a unique story behind them, and that has value as well. Maybe somebody that lives along the coast that has a house sitting on the beach somewhere, looks out over the ocean, wants to tell the story that these logs were recovered from the ocean from a wreck during World War II, and now they're the floor of the home or whatever they may be. The best part is there's still 4 more logs to get the next time.